Mr. Chairman. Ms. Beasley, and I appreciate you being here today to respond on these. Has Congress ever granted the Park Service authority to manage areas of Big Cypress National Preserve as wilderness?
No, sir. Only Congress has the authority to designate wilderness.
So when Big Cypress was first created, it was specifically going to be a preserve and not used as wilderness. So it was commentary at the time that the Park Service was planning to do a subsequent study at some point in the future to look at the feasibility of designated some of those lands as wilderness. And I think it was in 2022, the study was released and it listed 3 options in there. The third option, the alternative 3, would propose that Congress designate approximately 147,910 acres of land, which was 25% of the original preserve, as wilderness. Has the Park Service ever come forth to Congress to submit that proposal and request that it be redesignated as wilderness?
No, there is not a proposal currently for designation as wilderness.
Okay. Would you agree that the Park Service is currently managing that land, the 147,910, as wilderness?
Well, the Wilderness Act directs federal agencies to study their lands for potential inclusion in the National Wilderness Preservation System. And so we seek to follow that mandate. National Park Service's management policies direct us to manage areas that are found eligible or are proposed for wilderness to be managed as wilderness.
As the Park Service is determined eligible or as Congress has approved?
Based on the findings of a wilderness study as directed by the Wilderness Act.
Okay, so the Park Service will conduct its study, make its determination, but without then getting subsequent approval from Congress, will just go forth and carry that out as though it had Congress's permission.
Well, again, the Wilderness Act directs federal agencies to study their lands for potential inclusion in the National Wilderness Preservation System. The National Park Service seeks to preserve wilderness qualities in order to allow for a future potential designation should Congress choose to make a formal designation.
And I understand and appreciate that, but you do appreciate, though, that final authority should rest with Congress? Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir. Only Congress has the authority to designate wilderness.
Thank you. And in fairness, from the conversations we've had, the relationship currently is very amicable, and but there's concern about the future, what that could evolve to eventually, and particularly in the absence of any official designation by Congress. Chairman Cypress, I'd like to hear your thoughts, your concerns about the future of what this could hold for these tribal lands, and then also could you comment on other areas of tribal lands around the country where this maybe has not worked out so well for the tribes?
Yes. We've had a more amicable relationship with the National Park Service of late, but
Chairman, you turn your...
again, we have a more amicable relationship with the National Park Service of late, but this designation, we believe, is the wrong answer to some of these issues that are being brought up. And the tribe is willing to co-manage with the Park Service and use our resources to help out. And we've had discussions, internal discussions, but this designation seems to be one of the major pushes that they're making. And in the written testimony, we have examples of certain areas that have been designated wilderness, like in, I think with the Chippewas, and you know, they lost access to their lands. And so we don't want to end up in that same situation. We've been given assurances by the National Park, but you know, assurances don't coincide with the language in the Wilderness Act.
Thank you, Chairman Cypress. And Mr. Chairman, I would urge the committee's strong consideration of support for this bill. There is a time and a place for wilderness areas, but it needs to be done properly in accordance with the way Congress has set this process out. And in this case, we feel that that has not been followed. The will of Congress has been thwarted, and I'd urge our colleagues' adoption of my bill.
So is it correct, Mr. Franklin, that the you or no member of Florida has introduced a bill to take some of these lands that are in question and put them into wilderness?
No, in fact, this bill would specifically prevent this.
But no one from Florida has introduced a bill to move this into wilderness.
No, and quite the contrary. This is very bipartisan with our delegation.
Thank you for
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.